Good evening, welcome along to the Day Trippers. It is the last podcast of the year. As you can see, it's quite hot in here in JK Stoutman tonight. I had my hand over my head wiping the sweat off my brow. I'm not too close to the camera, so you won't be able to smell me.
What's the last podcast of the year?
Because it's the end of season review.
End of season.
So the football year doesn't work on the calendar year, Andy.
Yeah, but there's
except for
podcast tomorrow when we sign Fekir.
Well, but
Hashtag Butland.
It's the TTC in association. It's the TTC in association with Redsbet that this is the last one of this season, right? Then I'm taking a week's break. I'm not coming to do a podcast next week, right? You can do all the podcasts you want around transfers, around anything you want, but I'm not coming to do one, right? I'll just make that clear. Anyway, good evening, welcome along to the show. It is, of course, not Tuesday evening, it's Thursday evening. I've got 38% left in the battery, so this show is going to last as long as I can get to 3% on this MacBook. So, and then after that, then we're done. In tonight, we are going to talk about the end of the season. We're going to talk about the Champions League final, obviously. We're going to talk about Fabinho, who's just signed, and obviously Fekir, who's signed. I think, what time is he signing, Andy? Is it tonight or tomorrow night?
I believe it's 10 p.m. tomorrow.
10 p.m. tomorrow night. There'll be pictures.
Should we sign on the media on a hush at the moment?
On a hush at the moment, exactly.
They want the big day.
We'll also bring.
Well,
this is the thing. You've alluded to it, but we are going to bring exclusive Jack Butland news as far as this goes, because he is going to be Liverpool's number one next season. And well, I've maybe told us that a bit early, but we'll get onto that later on. Exclusive.
Few numbers just drop.
I have to say, right, I'm literally at the stage now where I don't care about football. I don't know about you, I just literally don't care. I was in the car tonight, I was getting excited about the World Cup for the first time this season. I was just there going, I can't wait till the World Cup comes on, just to see lads I don't know nothing about. Right?
Yeah.
Just, and that to me is...
I'm kind of numb about the whole World Cup situation.
Are you?
And when it starts, I'll be into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's another week to go, is it?
Yeah.
When does it start? On the Friday or the Saturday?
Next week.
It's usually the Friday.
It's normally at the 10th or something, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah. It's normally about the 10th, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe it's the Saturday this year.
Could be the Saturday.
Egypt first game, is it?
It's Egypt.
It's Russia first.
Yeah.
It's a Russia-Egypt.
I think it is, yeah.
Also, I was playing for
Yeah. But anyway, look, it is on, and we will be going right the way through the season with a variation of the Day Trippers, which is more or less the exact same as we do all the time. So that'll be very different to what you're used to. Really will, massively different. But anyway, look, the main thing I want to get on to tonight, as I said, is the end of season review. I just want to close off the Liverpool Football Club and Athletic Grounds Champions League finalist seasons, the Champions League top four, champion trophies. And of course, the main thing that we need to remember tonight is, of course, this new flashy graphic I have, which is going up about now on the screen. There we go, there's Redsbet. And of course, this show is brought to you in association with Redsbet, which is a betting site tailor-made for Liverpool supporters. Redsbet aim is to share half of the net profits. Can you mind that? I'm going to have to do that again, and I'm after doing the flashy graphic. Anyway, we'll go back to the start. The Tuesday Club, which is on the Thursday this week, is brought to you in association with Redsbet. It's a betting site tailor-made for Liverpool supporters. Redsbet aims to share half of their net profits with Liverpool supporters and fan causes, so no matter what, the fans end up a winner. Check out the odds on redsbet.com or download the Redsbet app. Share the glory and gamble responsibly. As we said before, big thanks as ever to Redsbet for coming on board and looking after us this season, and we go into next season as well. We hope it's going to be started a long-term partnership. And as you can see, big flashy graphic, that's staying as well. That'll be back next year. So back to the lads, and there we go. We've got Andy, we've got Ray, we've got James beside me, because James brings the sensibility and the sense and the sensibility into this one. Andy used to be funny, but we don't know what's happened. Cracked the joke that I think was interesting. So okay, Andy, start with you. We may as well address the elephant in the room, and that is season. Good season or bad season?
Good season.
Yeah?
Yeah, very good season.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take any reason for it? Just that it. This could be a very quick pod. We could be finishing in and out really quickly. Shit, I forgot to hit the start of the podcast. I don't know what. There'll be a shitty sound part at the start. Anyway, come on. It doesn't make a difference. Come on, just talk to me, please. I'm not doing all the talking tonight.
Yeah, good season. I mean, I think the main aim of the season would have been to consolidate top four.
Mm-hmm.
Hugely important that they did that, and to be able to do it while getting so far in the Champions League was excellent.
Yeah.
And unfortunate to lose the final, but I mean, I'm certain we would have been saying it was an absolutely outrageous season had we won the Champions League.
Yeah.
So just because we lost the last game doesn't change it too much.
Yeah.
It was a great season, and it's progress.
Okay.
And we're progressing on that club.
And what about the Champions League final, right? You saw loads of it because you were at a wedding in New York.
I didn't see enough of it really. I mean, look, it was a good season. It could have been a great season had we have won that game on Saturday. From my perspective, I was at a wedding, so I only started watching the game 55 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
We were 1-0 down. The commentary was in Spanish. I had absolutely no idea what had just happened minutes earlier with the Karius mistake and the Benzema goal.
To be quite honest with you, like I have to say, even if you're watching it in English, none of us had any idea what happened.
But obviously, when we got, we got the goal back, quick enough, and at 1-1, again, having not seen what had gone on in the first half, obviously knew Salah had gone off, but we were back in that game. We'd obviously overcome that first sort of error, and it was just a shame that we couldn't kick on from there, really. But then you can't legislate for what Bale did for the second goal.
Yeah.
And then obviously the third one. Again, you just can't explain it. You just can't legislate for two errors like that in a game. And what occurred to me today, actually, we said about good season or great season, was that imagine if that game would have actually cost us Champions League football for next season, because we would have been absolutely devastated. It was bad enough as it was, but imagine, we talk about momentum and it being something that's in progress. There was a stage there towards the end of the season in the league where we were dropping points as a consequence of being in the Champions League final, and it could have really, really come to sort of bite us in the arse really by getting to the final. So look, it was a good season. I think obviously we've gone in quick in the transfer market, and we've got Fabinho. Hopefully we can strengthen again in the transfer market. I think there's enough there for players to want to come to the club. So good season.
Okay, James, before I melt here into a ball of fucking water. For you, looking back on the season, have I said to you at the start of the year, right?
Yep.
If I said to you at the start of the year we were going to end up in the Champions League final and that we'd finish top four, and we aren't going to really be troubled to get top four, ultimately in the end, would you have taken it?
Absolutely,
100%.
Sorry, 100%. Like if you had said at the start of the season we'd be even in the Champions League final, I probably would have laughed at you, because it just, we'd done well to finish in the top four last season, but the one, I suppose, going into this season, the aim was to consolidate that, because it was something we haven't been able to do before, and we need to get back into Europe and establish ourselves as a force in Europe again, which we haven't been for. It's like 10 years since we were last, apart from 13-14 where we were in very briefly, but
it's 14-15.
14-15, sorry, 14-15. So no, I think it's been a very good season. It's one, I suppose, people were up in arms after the Watford game, which we finished 3-3. We were like, God, what's the season it was going to be? But we've just progressed as that season has gone on, and I personally didn't, I don't think anyone foresaw, Salah scoring 44 goals this season. I thought. Okay. But I didn't. So I thought, good signing, and Mane and Firmino, but I never thought he would, to be honest, most of the signings we made, I was a bit the same with Chamberlain. I didn't think he'd have the impact he did, but he was, an essential component of our Champions League run. And
I thought he would be.
Phil's awesome. There we go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
End of pot.
Come here to me. Let's roll it back a bit. And when you look at Klopp's performance, Andy, right, over the course of the season, because when Rafa was there, he was criticised heavily for rotating the squad. Ultimately, it was only when we got into the start of April did our small squad really start to cost us, because he rotated that squad very well through 3/4 of that season.
Yeah, I think the rotation kind of started around November, when they were coming into the kind of busy period. Christmas, Cup starting, the League Cup where we play around before Christmas, a couple of rounds before Christmas. So there was that, so he had to start rotating players, and I think it was around the end of January, he said something along the lines of, it's this kind of, they won't see too many changes from now to the end of the season. He kind of rotated when necessary. And it looked like everything was hunky-dory until we started picking up the injuries to the core players. And we were starting to rely on their fringe players to actually stand up, be counted. And they weren't quite ready.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's like a product of not strengthening in January or just where we are in this sort of Klopp regime, like he's only a couple of seasons into it.
Oh, we did sign Van Dijk in Janury, so we did strengthen.
Yeah,
and the Ox as well.
Signed him in December, by the way. Still haven't signed his player in January.
Oh my God, but aren't you fat?
Well, in terms of the midfield, we were left very short. And up front, we were left very short. We weren't there to give the three boys rests, and there was nothing else to really bring in.
Yeah.
Had we have spent the Coutinho money,
Hi, Paul.
it was it was one of those. You can't say. I mean, you can't say with absolute certainty that we would have been able to bring in the right player. Obviously, Klopp didn't believe we were able to, whether it was going to be Lamar or whoever. But he wasn't able to, and I don't personally believe like he's fell on any sort of sword over, because we've consolidated the fourth. We're playing the Champions League next year, and in the final, if we lost Salah and were able to bring on Lamar or whoever, where they would have been cup tied, or I don't know, but we would have been struggling anyway. You know what I mean? The players' heads dropped when Salah went off, and it's all because this team is all about that sort of 12 or 13 players this season that were really, really stood up. But it was Salah was the main man, and when they lost Salah, they don't really know any difference. They haven't really experienced playing without him.
Right.
So this sort of season has revolved around the gift that has been Salah.
Okay, right. This is the Salah season.
It is, yeah, it is, and Andy's right there. Basically, obviously, it built up as the season. It built up as the season progressed. Early doors, he was missing chances, and we were thinking, he's particularly wasteful here in front of goal. And then obviously he just starts sticking them in with regularity, and by the end, when he goes from that Champions League final, the shock is visible, not just with the fans, but the players, and that's because we didn't have to do. I think he maybe missed one game through injury, but it wasn't a significant game, and we had him there the whole way through the season. Yeah, he looked indestructible, didn't he? Yeah. He was getting some tasty challenges towards the back end of the season, but he looked fairly indestructible, and lo and behold, that happens in the final. And I think because they hadn't had to deal with playing without him, that mentally really, really hurt us in the final.
But we just how much we love Salah. You know what I mean? Yeah. The players must love him even more.
Yeah.
I mean, to have him on the pitch, they know.
And he was always on the pitch. He was very rarely rested.
So whatever about losing his ability up front, you're kind of losing his presence as well.
I think Firmino really missed him.
Yeah,
because he just didn't know really what to be doing.
Except Mane. Mane in that Real Madrid game. I'm going to say something, right? I don't think he's got enough credit or plaudit, right? The performance that Mane puts in on his own against Real Madrid is electrifying. The fella nearly wins the Champions League himself.
Well, he nearly obviously equalises to go 2-2, and I think at that point Madrid, that rocks Madrid because they're thinking, hang on, we still can't pull away from these, and they've lost the best player in the first half. I think 2-2 would have been a crucial point in that game. So you're right, Mane almost kind of rescued it single-handedly for us.
And not just that, but Mane as a player across the course of the season, there was a narrative going that he wasn't playing particularly well. Yet statistically, he continually turned out better numbers in the previous season.
He's popped in and out as well, though. He's had his injuries. He's had his spells away from the team. Last year.
He had that whole blip around the whole Ederson incident.
They are familiar with not having Mane. He wouldn't have been such a loss as.
But But he has become one of these players, and I called him. He was like the perfection of Dorkout, and that his work rate is phenomenal, right? And he's the type of player like Hout was, that no matter how bad he's playing on the pitch, he never stops. His head never goes down, and all he does is he tries harder. And he got his rewards for it. So he got his goals, and even in games where he wasn't playing particularly well, he always seemed to pop up and score a goal. Especially in the big wins. He was always one of the ones that was on the score sheet.
He never lets his head drop. He's out there loving us football. You know what I mean? I think that's what you all want to see.
I think he was struggling for a few games there, wasn't he? It was around that time when he had that he missed that sitter against Everton, and a lot of people started getting on his back and criticising his form and all that sort of stuff. But he fairly quickly shrugged that off, and he was contributing massively in that crucial last third of the season.
Yeah, there was questions over him, but like, I mean, that's what having a squad is all about.
But I think, Andy, an awful lot, like, it's very, and I'm still finding it hard to look back, because I don't know how this season will be remembered. Like, so the 13-14 season was always remembered for the madness that was the season. But there was only the league. There was nothing else, right? Yeah. This is the first time that I remember one of these mad seasons where it isn't just the league, but you have this immense Champions League run going as well, right? So, like, if you go back to 08-09 when we came close to winning the league and we got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, we've already become this team in Europe that teams where we've gone to the 05 final, we've gone again to the 07 final, we came close to winning the league. It felt like it was the culmination of 4 or 5 years of building. Whereas this team only feels like it's been there 2 years. I know Klopp was there more or less for a full season the year previous to it, right? But this feels like it's only really becoming his team this year.
Yeah.
And it's a lot earlier. It's almost like the 06-07 season, when, if you want to compare it directly to Rafa's period in charge. And even at that, we're still achieving more, and there seems to be greater gains gained at this point.
I think we have a squad there now of players who know and understand how it is, how we're expected to play on that club. And they're all trying to do that.
Yeah.
So that's the point. That's the point the squad is at now. They understand the manager. They've been training long enough under them. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But we're probably just short 3 or 4 bodies. Of that ability to bring this team on to the challenging for our league. But that's what's been most important. Is like, look, imagine we had the mad season this season. Imagine we had a 90-point season, because you don't have them every year.
It would have been.
And we
typical,
had it would have been just a complete waste. What would be the point in having your best season in
Premier League history?
Decades. 97, 98 points still wouldn't have won the fucking league.
I know. Yeah.
So I think we should be grateful that it's been a season that they've learned, that they've come on, and we've identified a couple of the problems that Klopp needs to address. And lo and behold, we got to the Champions League final and we bloody enjoyed ourselves. I know a little my passion for the team again. Sometimes you lose it, but to see all that carry on in the Champions League and the European nights again, I thought they were dead forever. Like even the season we had in the Champions League under Rodgers.
It was
a shit show.
awful.
You know what I mean?
It was so dire. And Madrid.
I wouldn't have had the Champions League died, because when we were in the Champions League in 2005 and 07 and all them great years, it was magic. And
you felt you had a chance of winning.
We were coming home from work and Tuesday night and the Champions League music and all that, and then by the time we got back into that again, it was almost as if the Champions League died.
Yeah,
you were watching it, but Liverpool weren't in it. And you were saying, when we get back in, we're going to light this thing up again. And then Rodgers got us in, and he kind of bottled it.
Yeah,
he did bottle it. and then, but it was back. It was fucking back
with a bang.
Yeah.
Like we were the amount of goals that we scored and the nights we had at Anfield and stuff, like it was unbelievable. I mean, I remember back in 05 when we won it. I remember thinking, particularly like, the final, getting to the final, like thinking at the time, like it's kind of a big chance. It's our big chance to win it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think. Now, ironically, we get back to the final very quickly after, but you didn't feel like we necessarily had the team and the squad that deserved to win a Champions League, if you know what I mean. But especially compared to this one. Now, as devastating as it was, I feel that we've got something where we can win something over the next few years.
James, but my biggest regret coming away from that match was with Salah fitting the pitch. It's the culmination of one of these wondrous seasons.
Absolutely. Yeah,
winning that Champions League puts this season into one of those never to be forgotten seasons. We still talk about 13-14 because it was basically a diamond in a sea of shit that had been more or less Liverpool since 2010, right? Whereas this one is a top 4 season on top of a top 4 season, which then has a cherry. It's basically a lovely little fairy cake with a cherry on top.
So 13-14 is going to be remembered for Gerrard slip.
No,
and this season is going to be remembered
for the
Karius. And probably the injury to Salah.
Yeah,
but that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? Like
it's those fine margins.
Yeah.
Like we still
certain things conspire against you.
I don't know. Is it that important to what people remember the season? You know what I mean? Like we're in the now at the moment, and the players.
I think, but Andy, I think sometimes, especially in the modern day, it's very hard to remember or to look at something over the whole body. And even when you're in the micro moments of a season, it's very hard to be able to step back and look at, well, where is this actually going? How do we get to achieve our goals? And if somebody says to you halfway through a season, when you get to the Champions League final and you finish top 4, you're going to be like, I don't care if we win it or not. If we do that, that's a great season, right? And if I tell you that City are going to have 100 points, you're going to say, well, I don't really care about finishing second once I finish in the top 4 because nobody's going to catch them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go back to your point. So, yeah, like, at least by not winning it this year, but not having our 95-point season this year, right? Then we didn't miss out on anything. We achieved what we had to do by getting less points than last season. And we achieved,
only a couple of less points.
Yeah, but we also actually achieved more in being able to get to a final of a cup. Yeah. The only question mark that remains in my head, and one that's probably going to stay there until he wins something, right?
6 losses.
Is that the Klopp Cup final losses keep mounting. But now, there's nothing much, you can't do much about a goalkeeper rolling the ball directly to the centre forward or throwing it in the net, right? But it's another one.
He needs to get the monkey off his back.
Yeah.
He probably does, but look, let's face it, he's always been the underdog. Apart from us against
he won't be when he's at Real Madrid.
League. What?
He won't be when he takes the Real Madrid job.
That's true. He'll be expected to win then. But I think the only final out of the last 6 that he wasn't the
just 15% battery, just the battery update in this.
Would have been the Seville game when we would have expected to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Even though they had obviously the pedigree and
that was incorrect. That was purely based on fan madness because that as you're right, Sevilla were going back for their second final, and they went on again to a third final, won a hat trick of Europa Leagues.
They made that competition there.
What other? The last another final for us? The against City was it?
League Cup final. When Mignolet becomes a hologram and the ball. So in 2 finals he's had as a manager, he's had hologram goalkeepers in all 3 of them.
So Real Madrid, City, Seville, who'd had the pedigree, and then the few with Dortmund.
Where he's playing Bayern Munich.
Yeah. And
still losing
them.
Well, you're not going to play a shit team though in a Champions League final.
No.
Unless it's United.
Final, no.
So that's kind of been Klopp's managerial career so far. Like he hasn't been managing like your Barca's or fucking Bayern's.
Right.
He's managing us now. We'll win the next one.
Okay. Because we are still time constrained.
7, is it?
Well, I think of it. Well, look, we're progressing all the time.
As
it stands now, I think we're going to be second best to City next season at the minimum.
Okay. I want to ask you right, so because and I am just conscious that I'm down to 30% battery, and I don't know how to make the battery last longer.
If we don't speak as loud,
plug it in maybe.
Well, I don't have the charger.
if we whisper, it'll be
a whisper. Like a chocolate bar. Okay, look, for Klopp to change the odds to become the favourite, right? He needs to invest in this squad, right?
Yeah.
We've added a right back in Fabinho.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor old Trent.
Oh no, yeah. What's he going to? Well, that's
all
what
the best.
I hear Klein is off to Crystal Palace.
You made that up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It didn't.
12%.
12%. No, it's 13 still. So Klein is off to Crystal Palace. Fabinho's coming in at right back to take the right back position, and they're going to put Trent into midfield, right? So, who else? The next in the door is allegedly was meant to be Fekir tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock now.
The pictures will be taken, be released at 10. Media will be briefed, not to say a word.
Because they want the big day.
It's happening.
Okay.
Next.
So you're saying that Moley and Grizz need to make themselves available for their the Word on the Street podcast, which is starting and will be running over the summertime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Word on the street.
Okay. Right, so there you go.
Plans, lads.
No Friday night drinking with the lads or anything like that. You have a podcast to do.
Chris will be fine.
Okay, I've got to tell you, Jack Butland has been approached. Jack Butland has agreed a deal. Jack Butland has agreed personal terms with the club, right? We haven't pushed the button yet on the deal because he is the backup option if we don't get our first choice option,
Which is
the goalkeeper.
Who's the first choice option?
First choice option is
Allison.
Oblak.
I think it's Oblak. I don't know who the first choice option is, but I think it's
Do you
more.
really
likely...
think we'll pay 90
Well,
million for a goalkeeper?
You know, Robertson was way down the pecking order.
Yeah.
For left backs, third choice or fourth
Yeah.
choice or something like that. So we do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jack Butland would be a very realistic Liverpool thing to do.
But not better than Karius.
No, if Jack Butland comes in, we don't know who's going to be number one next season.
We are back to this. Okay.
Yeah, we're
The
back to
whole
what
competition
the whole-
thing,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
And I put this to the group.
Splitting the fans.
If we cannot land a world class goalkeeper, that's going to save you points, it's going to win you points,
Leave
Karius.
Karius.
We still have to buy summer because
Yeah.
we cannot continue
Okay,
to have
Andy,
I mean, Courtois is the latest one who potentially is going to be available.
Andy, I'll put
it's like a merry-go-round.
But I put this to the lads, right? And I'll put it again. The problem with signing Jack Butland is it solves nothing and creates more headaches, right?
Yeah.
So if we sign Jack Butland, the English press straight away demands that Jack Butland is the first choice goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And the smallest mistakes that Karius would make, and we're talking about things that maybe a throw that doesn't go to the right player, a kick out that well, the throw was going to the right player, except your man's leg got in the way.
the priority is replacing Mick.
Oh, no,
that absolutely has to happen. So I will take Jack Butland, right? Because Mick has to go. So if Karius and Butland are two goalkeepers next season, it'll be slightly improved. But we have to obviously go after the big number one. The big number one that can win us a fucking title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know whether Allison is that. I think Oblak is the goalkeeper that we need.
I agree.
But whether that's achievable with all the competition to get him, with the money that's involved, I don't know. If we sign him, Fekir, and
centre back,
quality centre back. Goals, we probably need another. But if they're the three big money signings, it's 180 million, something along them lines. So I'll take that, and then the rest can be funded by.
Listen, I have to say, personally, I know you tell me that Fekir is signed by 9 o'clock tomorrow. The picks have been done, right? But I have a feeling we're not going to sign that player ever.
Personally,
right? I personally don't think we're ever.
I'm the same.
I think if I was putting money on at this moment in time, and I'm not great with the old betting, but if I was putting money on, I think you'd be better off putting your money on Pulisic than you would be on Fekir. Right? I think that's the one that simmering there, and probably Dembele. I think if you're looking at what's the three options,
camera.
Yeah, what's the three options? You hit the little button for me. What's the three options that we're likely to go for? I'd say it's to see the camera button up at the top. There you go. There we are back. I think the three options that are probably, I think Fekir is number one, but I think then it's Pulisic and Dembele. And I think they'll happily take either Pulisic or Dembele if they can't get Fekir.
Yeah, I think they can't negotiate the right deal,
and the other thing we know that Aulas, the Lyon president, is an arsehole, and he will look for an option where he possibly can. Look, he tried to.
There was already rumours today about Atletico Madrid and Bayern being interested as well. So that's what he wants. He wants an auction. Whereas Liverpool don't, they just want it done and dusted.
Like of course,
in the next
because
10 days.
Because the World Cup's coming up, and obviously if he has a brilliant World Cup, then the price just skyrockets anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but a few people have said he's not likely to even make the French. He'll be in the squad, but he's not in the first 11.
But he's the type of fellow who'll come off the bench, score a worldie, and everyone will be raving about him. Do you know what I mean?
If he comes to Liverpool, he'll be definitely in the next French. With
Zidane as the manager.
Because that's the way it goes, and that's what he should be looking at, going from Lyon to Liverpool to then put himself in a position to be going to your Reals or Barca. That's what I mean. It's sad, but that's what we are at the moment. There's a bit of a stepping stone. When we start winning trophies, that all changes.
I think there was I was reading something today, and it was basically, as we know, Klopp is a really charismatic manager. He's really lively and people like him and stuff, and that helps a lot in attracting players.
Yeah.
Whereas this season, with us having the Champions League run, players are now wanting to come to us.
I think we win the Champions League and Fekir runs across the channel to sign a deal the next day. Right?
Yeah.
I think there's probably of arrogance in him as well that might be thinking, well, actually, looking at who's moving around, if Ronaldo goes from Real Madrid and players start, Griezmann goes to Barcelona and things like that. Yeah. Like if I'm living in the south of France, I think to myself, Madrid would be a nice spot to move.
I think it might be the move too soon for him.
Yeah.
You know, like it.
He looked brilliant when playing against Cardias for the Irish team there on Monday night.
Is Eden Hazard ever leaving Chelsea, or is he good enough to leave
Hazard to go to?
Well, I'll tell you, we haven't talked about Chelsea because we don't really have time. We've got 6% actually, but all I'm saying is that Abramovich has left England, and I'd say his money is leaving Chelsea very quickly, and they won't pay the release clause for Sarri, so there's a good chance that Pardew or Hodgson will be the next Chelsea. Or Moyes.
Their downfall will be just so enjoyable.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it will be better than.
Well, it started today with the new stadium on hold.
Yeah. Okay, centre backs, lads. Grizz mentioned it. It is true, and it was something I'd also heard as well. Is that we are very much interested in Jerome Boateng if he's available from Bayern Munich.
What age is he?
He's 27, I think it is.
Okay.
It goes back to the idea that we will be signing a ready-made football playing centre back, as opposed to bringing in another young gun to challenge what it is. And if he comes in, he's more likely going to replace Clavin as opposed to replacing, say, Lovren or Gomez. So he'll be in there to do it. So
don't forget Matip.
Who?
Matip.
Big season for him next year.
Do you not think that Matip and Fabinho looks like a cross between Matip and which one? He looks like a cross between. It could be Klein and Matip. Look, check him out the next time.
I don't even know what you said. I'll have to watch this again.
I don't know either. He got completely
a crossbreed between Klein and Matip.
Look a Labradoodle. In oh my God. I actually think Fabinho looks more like a basketball player than he does a footballer. Well,
Fabinho?
Yeah. Do we think he's going to make a big difference in midfield? I've noticed so far that every single Liverpool side has him has Henderson out of the team and Fabinho straight in. Fabinho, Keita and Fekir.
Because they're not living in the real world where Jurgen Klopp picks the team, and Henderson is still the captain of the club, so he's played in every game. He's been fit.
Oh, fucking Milner and Henderson are being directly replaced. It's not even like an addition to the squad. They're being directly replaced. And we wouldn't. Vice captains' armbands are being whipped off.
But what point? This is a serious point, though. At what point does Van Dijk get the armband?
Does he though?
Well, I think it happens naturally. Like
why does he have to?
Because
he's the natural leader.
He's the natural leader, and to me, he's the one who's going to be in the team regularly.
Yeah. So the more at the moment, Henderson hasn't found himself out of the team.
Yeah.
At the point Henderson finds himself out of the team, which may be next season. If we look back, if we're sitting here in a year's time and Henderson's only played 5 games, there's no question about it. But if Henderson, for hook or by crook, ends up being in our team all next season, he's not going to lose the captaincy. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
But it's happened before. With it's not like
all I'm saying is that it's 3 seasons now. Henderson is being captain for Klopp. Right? Van Dijk might be next up, right? But Lovren seems to be the next up when it comes to that. Right, Chan is gone, and then the last thing is
we know Klopp doesn't really care about the captaincy, or when Henderson hasn't been available, he's just given it to whoever. He gave to Mignolet one to just absolutely just whine. Exactly.
Now there is Van Dijk is an absolute captain.
And will be.
You get it eventually. Look, we hope Van Dijk finishes his career with Liverpool. We hope he's with Liverpool for the
absolute captain.
He's got to be the captain. He's got to be the captain, but it doesn't have it always has to happen now with Liverpool fans.
Who is
everything has to be immediate.
Andy, who's the centre back we sign?
I don't know.
No,
I like Lovren.
No, but who do we sign?
Your man.
Boateng. Ray, who do we sign?
George Boateng.
James.
Your man from Newcastle.
Jamal Lascelles.
Yeah.
Another basketball player. We're going to have a great basketball team.
We can't be.
Well, FSG have always wanted a basketball team and they don't have one. So this way it's getting one on the side.
This isn't a case, like, you know what I mean? This isn't a case of going on to transfermarket.com and putting in like players. And going to the most expensive looking guy and then getting a YouTube video done up of him being whopper and then sign him. Klopp will have to save money somewhere.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Especially if he goes out and splashes mad money in a goal.
goalie. Yeah.
But if he gets Butland or something and that's what we're stuck with, maybe we might spend a bit of money.
Well, we're going to need them. We're going to need loads of centre backs if we sign Butland as opposed to signing a goalkeeper.
With Fabinho in the midfield as a natural defensive midfielder with that kind of brain about him, you know what I mean? He's used to playing there. He'll know how to prevent goals. Well, we're going to reduce our goals conceded.
If we spend 80 million on Oblak or Alisson, right?
It's a statement. It's a statement. Like
my prediction is we sign Ben Gibson off Middlesbrough and we go with Lovren, Gibson, Van Dijk, and Matip as our 4 centre backs next season.
Really?
Yeah. Going back to Andy's point, if we're going to splash out big on a goalkeeper, we're going to not splash out. You're not going to sign.
That's the shame of what happened to Karius in the final, isn't it? That's the secondary problem from actually losing the final.
2%, right? So just in case, 2%. Just in case I get cut, right? Listen, I want to say a personal thanks to everyone who's watched, interacted, been on Periscope, has tweeted, shared, reads the stuff, comes watches the Fatback 4, watches the Tactics Boards, the whole lot. Like I know the level of work that goes in behind the scenes between Steve and Jamie and the lads putting the show together last week. Even the live events that we've done 2 over the course of the season. For the guys who come in here and make themselves available and get down, and for the fellas who don't bother their arse coming down, these are fucking wankers. But I will say, look, genuinely to all the people who watch in, thank you very much. We are in the middle of doing a huge renovation on the bunker. It will be ready come the start of the new season, and that's the end of it, right? But we probably have a little fundraiser to go beforehand, and we will be putting the details up. So if you can, great. There's no obligation. You're not going to be charged for the podcast or anything like that. But if you can, it will be great because it will help us get over the line to get this bunker completely renovated, which we have been doing for a while. But personally, from me, thank you as ever. We've done this 4 years. We're heading into our 5th year now. We're actually heading into our 6th season now this year. So. It's
and the first year was what, the mad 13-14 was it? Yeah.
September 14 was the first podcast. It was 21st of September 2014. I am not Yago or something. It was. I am. It's on there. It's and Martin Maldini was the second one. People can go back into the feed and they can find it. A Rice Krispie box and 2 dodgy PlayStation Let's Dance controllers. Big thanks to ever. I know Andy and myself have been here from the start. Steve-O has as well. Trev has been with us for most of it.
He's with us in spirit now.
He's still with us in spirit. Rest in peace. Anyway, so
I was expecting to see him do that night.
Yeah.
Maybe at the next one.
All I say, if you're looking forward to seeing Trev back on the Trippers, don't give up hope just yet, right?
Bombard him.
Don't give up hope. Bombard him with tweets saying, "Come back, right? You're in a shit caravan. You need to come back to your comfy bed." Just think of it like the story of the prodigal son in the Bible. When he went off and he spent all his money, but then he came back and his dad said, go on, sure, there's your bed, go in there and have a few drinks, you'll be grand, right? That's exactly what's going on here. But look, a big thanks as ever. I know Andy means we're down to 1%, but we will be, we're taking a week off and then we'll be back with the special Trippers Media World Cup edition pods. Andy, anything you'd like to say before we get cut off here?
Yeah, it was deadly having loads of listeners at the event the other night. It's a pity we didn't get the result, but it was deadly seeing